There we are. Hello, everyone. We are live from an unusual location. We've got a peanut gallery in the back today who's gone. This is going to be probably a bit of a short session today, Hector, because we've got Hector and I here together live in Toronto.
It's not special effects.
It's not special effects.
It's
near Toronto, yes. So I guess we want to keep it a bit short today because we want to get back to drinking in the fire pit and hanging out with everyone. What's our topic for today? I guess was it going to be working virtually?
No, I think we said finding inspiration and innovation while on vacation.
Inspiration and innovation while on vacation.
While you're drinking.
Well, actually, that's usually a good start for a lot of the innovation and inspiration.
Cheers.
The hard part is making sure you remember it.
That's right. Well, it's live on Facebook, so we'll remember.
So we'll remember these ones. But one of the things I struggle with is when you're on vacation, being able to actually make sure you're setting the time to work, right? When I come up here to the cottage, which is a great place to potentially work remotely, and we have all this technology that enables us to do our job from anywhere in the world. But when you get up here, you want to be by the dock, you want to be by the water, and probably the last thing you want to do is be going live to Facebook.
Right. We're getting some flack from your brothers and sisters here about going live at 11:30 at night. And they don't get it.
They don't get it. And the fire pit's literally right behind.
Right. So I can tell you some of the things that I have observed while on vacation in Canada.
Okay.
And I'll tell you, maybe these are lessons to take for work, or maybe not, but a couple of interesting things. One, in Canada, they charge you HST on gas separate than the price stated. In the US, sales tax is inclusive, which is kind of interesting. I don't know if that affects the tax world, but in the US, there's no sales tax on gas. The excise tax on gas is sort of built in, and the gas stations charge it automatically. So I thought that was interesting. The other thing I found interesting in Canada particularly was the service here has been phenomenal. The people, like I was at the Great Wolf Lodge, which is a water park, and there was something, it might seem minute, but it was something that I found particularly great, is every time I slid down the water park, or a slide, every single time, when you're down in the water, you always submerge, and then you come up for air. There was always a person there to ask you, how was it? And you think that's minor, but it actually isn't. Because what they're doing is they're immediately asking you for feedback. That way you confirm in your head, yeah, it was great. And then you don't really believe something in your head until you have confirmed it or you've said it out loud.
Right.
So I think that they have built into that experience, reminding the guests that they are having fun, that it is great, because it is $500 a night.
Yeah.
So if you're not taking advantage of the water park itself, you only remember the bill.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting. The other thing that was really
Now, did they ask you how was it when they gave you the bill?
No, they didn't. No, they actually said checkout is automatic. You don't even have to go to the front desk.
So you want to slide past that part.
That's right. So I thought that was great. I mean, I've of course, that's just a lesson about instant feedback on service immediately, and that may not be a Canadian thing. That may just be the Great Wolf Lodge, which is actually, I think, an American company anyway. But while on vacation, I noticed these little things, and I always try to see, hey, is there something with maybe immediate feedback? How was it? Like a lot of times I train my customers, and we do a session for 2 hours, and then we always say goodbye. I never say, how was it? Did you like it? Did you get what you wanted? I always assume they're happy because they're not complaining. But I thought that was just a small piece of inspiration I found this vacation so far in the 2 days I've been in Canada.
And how critical do you think it is to actually have them expressly say it was good, it wasn't bad? What about net promoter scores and doing it that way?
It's a water park, right? So they could just let you go to the next slide. I think it just has to do with reminding the customer that they used a service of yours, or they used your product. Remind them that if they liked it, to just say it out loud. I think it's just as simple as getting you to say yes. That's good enough.
Right.
That's really it.
Yeah, I mean, we do a lot of net promoter scores, and we do that for every one of our clients, and we try to get them to give us their feedback in all sorts of different ways, and we work really hard to get them to complete those net promoter scores, but we don't actually ask the simple question, are you happy with the service at the
Right.
end of the phone call?
Right.
And that, I think, is an insightful tip from a vacation. My insights from vacationing are usually less business related and more about, okay, remember to go to bed before 3:30.
Right.
Remember to drink water.
Right. That's right.
Yeah.
Now another thing I found interesting. I just escaped.
So it couldn't have been that interesting.
Right.
So part of the problem
Yeah.
is we may not be that interesting today, or maybe more interesting, because Hector brought us up some Venezuelan rum,
That's right.
which my brothers have taken.
Why is the rum gone?
Why is the rum gone?
Right.
Yes. We've had a couple of fingers of this rum, which is great, which is also, I think, we're not quite as eloquent as we normally are on Friday nights.
That's right.
So you add an extra day, you add a couple ounces of liquor, and we're just not on our game, are we?
Yeah.
And I can't read any of those texts. My eyesight is horrible.
They're just commenting about the size of the bugs.
The size of the bugs.
Yeah. So I do have another interest. I'm reading a book called Alchemy by Rory Sutherland.
Right.
And he was talking about the importance of their employees going on vacation.
Yeah.
And part of the significance of that is so they come back, and these are the words that he said, they come back inspired. Now, how does an employee come back inspired from vacation? I mean, I know as an entrepreneur, my vacation experience is different than an employee's vacation experience. Because when I go on vacation, I'm
about your business.
only partially disconnected.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking about things, and I'm trying to learn from the environment, and I'm trying to add on to the repertoire of useful experiences that can turn into something positive,
Right.
transformative to my business. But when employees go on vacation, they really fully disconnect, and when they come back, they do come back refreshed. Like I know I'm not gonna be so refreshed because I'm running around after the kids, and I'm also thinking about work, and I'm going live on Facebook.
Yeah, you
while
got a
I'm working.
whirlwind of a trip, but I think obviously in our industry too, which is a pretty stressful industry, making sure that we give our clients or our staff, our team, the time to de-stress, relax is critical. I mean, what do you think about this concept? A number of people have been talking about giving people unlimited vacation time.
Yeah, that's unlimited vacation time is something I want to talk to you about. I'm struggling with that, obviously, because one part of me says if you give them unlimited vacation time, they'll abuse it, right? And then abuse, it's probably part of the problem, because what does abusing mean? Well, it means they take too much.
Yeah.
But then who determines what's too much?
And if
right?
they're getting their work done, does it really matter?
Right. I think that's part of the mindset, that until I figure out how to give my employees the responsibilities to do the work with clear goals, then I really don't care what being unproductive or taking advantage or taking too many vacations mean. But that's part of my challenge with that. But that's something I want to evolve to for sure. I haven't figured out how to do that yet.
So now I got to bring my sisters in because they're giggling in the background. So what would you guys think? Do you guys think unlimited vacation time is a good thing for a company or a bad thing for a company?
I think you want to create a culture of self-starters.
Yeah, a culture
Right.
of self-starters.
And if you have a culture of self-starters, if you give them the freedom, they're not going to take advantage of it
If you
anyways.
spoil people.
Pardon me?
Well, if the people are abusing it, that's the way you know you need to get rid of it.
Well, okay. So how do you define abusing? What does abusing unlimited vacation would mean to you?
If they're taking months off at a time, I think.
Okay.
Well, if they don't achieve their goals.
If they don't achieve their goals.
Right.
Taking
I
months
don't
off
care
at
if
a
you
time and
achieve,
not
I don't
doing
care
what
when
they're
you
supposed
come. If you achieve your goals, I don't give a shit.
That's exactly
But
it.
Wait, explicit.
explicit. We have the
Yeah,
mic
yeah.
explicit. Yeah. The microphone's pointing this way. So maybe. Now, so together, so we have vacation, we have time off, which might not necessarily vacation, just like taking a day off or half a day off, and working from home remotely. Do you think that if you also give?
You filming us?
No, you're not being filmed.
Yeah,
It's just us.
because you don't need to flash
I
yet.
think it comes down to product.
We're the only internet famous here. So, so what about working from home? Do you think that's the same policy? So be able to work from home whenever you want, work at whatever time. Does it extend to that? Is it similar?
I
Unlimited
think-
vacation from that?
In my opinion, it's the same thing, and it's basically if you can be responsible, if you can get your tasks completed, who cares where where you're doing the work from, and in fact, sometimes people can be even more productive,
Right.
Because they're not having to deal with the commute, they're not having to
Right.
deal with the stress of getting home to pick up their kid by a certain
Right.
time, whatever the case might be.
I think a major differentiation in this time of difficulty to find talent would be that it might be difficult for them to see another firm that would give them that benefit. So that might be a sticky sort of a
Differentiator.
a sticky differentiator that might want them to stay working for your firm.
Yep.
Now have you been successful at giving people goals, but from like both financial and productive and client fulfilling goals? Have you been able to do it? Like, is your firm in that level that all your employees know what they're supposed to do? They don't need any supervision. They can take unlimited vacations. Are they there yet?
No, we're not there yet. I mean,
What's missing?
I mean, I think that there is still when you don't own the company, and there's they don't have the same concern about making sure that they hit those targets as.
Is it because they don't own the company, or because they don't have skin in the game?
It's because they don't have skin in the game. I don't think they have to own it, but they don't have the skin in the game to ultimately care.
Is there an alternative?
I didn't realize we were so funny.
Don't worry about the peanut gallery. Don't worry. Is there an alternative to skin in the game that's not ownership?
I guess like profit sharing.
Yeah.
You know, there's different ways to do it.
What if you do no fixed salary, but the salary is tied to a percentage of the production, sort of like commission, but not really?
I think didn't Bob Wang do something similar to that with his model where he had?
I think he did.
Yeah, so I think there's lots of different ways, and we do have incentives for our staff too, which is basically based on a combination of customer satisfaction,
Right.
turnaround time,
That's right.
and total revenue. So we do build that, but I still think that ultimately, when that's not 100% of your compensation, it's not as big a factor as when you're an entrepreneur and 100%
Yeah.
what you bring home is a result of the quality work that you're doing for your clients,
That's right.
the satisfaction that the clients
Right.
have, and the volume of work that you can deliver.
That's right. So if you were to design a plan like that, would you make that a top-down, where you think you with your leadership team or just the owners think of the plan and roll it out, or do you think involving your employees in the process of designing this new comp/goal-based compensation plan that would include unlimited vacations and all that stuff?
I think you've got to include the employees in the team because they've got to buy
All of
into it.
them.
Yeah, I think all of them, absolutely. Like, it doesn't mean you're going to do everything they tell you to do.
Right.
Or everything, but the more that you can involve them. I mean, that's something that my mom taught me a long time ago. This is change management 101.
Right.
I don't care what you're changing. If you can get the team involved in the process and feel like they're part
Right.
of making it what it is, your chance of succeeding at whatever it is you're trying to accomplish
Right.
is that much greater.
And that might also require you to have an open book management policy where people can see the books, can see the profitability.
Yep.
Right? Isn't that implied, or could you somehow hide the financials and also make a compensation based on?
Absolutely. I mean, you could choose to share only certain things, like whether it's a top line revenue, bottom line revenue.
Yeah.
Maybe it's based on margins. You could share only a component of the financials.
Right.
So I don't think it's necessarily implied that it's complete transparency, but I personally just believe that the greater the transparency, the more buy-in that you're going to get from your team.
Now, do you
I might be
think-
wrong on that, but
Now, one of the issues I've had in the past with transparency has been like one employee seeing what the other employee makes, and there being some maybe resentment because you hired someone with more experience than the other person that's been
Yeah.
working with you for 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
Could that be a challenge too?
yeah, I think, well, and when I say complete transparency, like, I mean, we're happy to share a financial statement, but that doesn't mean you get the breakdown of what goes into wages and salaries.
Okay.
I think there's got to be some confidentiality as far as people's wages and salaries. I think that, and quite frankly, I think in Canada there's specific laws.
Okay, I was going to ask you. So
Yeah, I'm not an HR person, but I'm pretty sure we're actually not allowed to share that.
You're precluded from sharing salary of an individual person to somebody else in the team.
Yes, I think we just went past our explicit warning again.
Right?
We
Right.
should probably, I don't know, should we keep today's session a little short?
We can end
'Cause-
it.
Yeah. Well, why don't you close us out with the deep insight from your trip and how you think you can go? Because I think this peanut gallery in the back is
Right.
not gonna stop until we're.
That's fine. Well, they were supposed to provide some useful feedback.
Yes.
And
Then we were just
throw some
we
ideas.
probably shouldn't have poured a whole bottle of rum down their throats before we
Right.
went live.
Right. Yeah. I brought 2 bottles and there was one left. And I
Yeah.
said, what happened to the first one? They're like, we drank it. But I said, I just got it.
Yes.
Yeah. So
It literally was within about an hour.
it was an
of
hour.
your-
Yeah, it was an hour. So, well, I don't know. Next time I'll bring, if there's a next time, I'll bring 4 instead.
Yeah, and we'll have to do we'll share some footage from
Right.
this weekend trip.
Yeah.
Because it's been, you just got here this afternoon, only 4 or 5
Couple
hours
hours ago, yeah.
So we haven't even had that much time to hang out that much. We were just literally like
Right.
playing with the kids, getting them into bed,
Right, that's right.
having some dinner.
And we had to do this. We're
Yeah.
hardly ever together. So
Yeah, we
even
felt
if
like-
it wasn't that
Yeah,
insightful.
I know it's a short one, and I know we're not on 100% of our game.
That's right.
The peanut gallery is not helping, that's for sure.
That's right.
Although they maybe are making it more interesting and certainly more explicit.
That's right. That's right.
And we'll be back to our normal date and time next week, and you're going to be live with Mike.
I'm gonna try to go. I'm gonna be in Montreal next week, and Mike, who lives in Burlington, Vermont, is gonna drive to Montreal and meet me there, and we're gonna try to do the same thing. With Mike, it might be a bit more sober.
Yeah, it might be.
That's for sure. And then we'll see how it goes. So anyway, I just wanted to take advantage that we're together. We bought our equipment, of course.
Yeah.
So we had to use it.
Yeah, we had to test it out, and we
Right.
of course went through the whole equipment breakdown of
Yeah.
who's got the better equipment,
No,
who's got what.
so one thing I just real funny. He brought up a luggage worth of equipment. I brought a phone, a mic, and a light.
Yeah.
And we had all different options.
And we're
We-
using your equipment.
We could no. Say we went with it. What I'm saying is we went with the simplest route.
Yeah.
We used a phone, we used a microphone, and one light.
2 lights.
Oh, 2 lights. Right? Yeah, that's right. Two lights and the fire.
And the fire.
And the fire. So at the end of the day, it's not really that complicated to do this.
No.
All right, man. So we'll keep chatting, and we'll see you
Yeah.
next week.
And who knows? We might wait till they get drunk enough to pass out and go live.
Yeah. We should flip the camera around.
Yeah, we do have to flip the camera once.
Yeah.
Oh, let's see so they can.
Nah, no, don't do it. Don't do it. I don't want it. I don't want
No, I
it. Finish
do that.
it. Finish it. Finish it. Finish it.
I don't know how to flip.
And the ones that don't. The ones where each client question even imposes a question to yourself, where you're saying, that's a good question. Let me give this person the best possible answer. Let me research it. Let me think about it. That will never come out of a
You
decision
can't be
tree.
all things to all people.
That's true.
You know, you got to sort of carve out the general niche and target people that will fit into it, that will benefit from it. You know,
Well, having a narrow niche, whether it's IT professionals, consultants.
I don't think our niche is narrow.
IT consultants? You don't think that's
I think our niche is consultants, people that are selling services and marketing themselves, and I think that's a very large percentage of small business.
Yeah, if your niche is consultants, that's definitely not narrow.
No.
right? Because basically everybody's a
That's the
consultant.
way I see it. I mean, most of our clients know about computers because that's what's in, but
Right.
people who are selling their knowledge are our clients.
Right.
Or service-based professionals.
Right.
I think that's the key. Is to me, what percentage of small businesses in Canada are service-based professionals? It's
46%, something like
it's a
that.
high percentage. I think it's even. I
46% of all businesses
America
are our
60.
market.
Yeah, I thought it was over 50%.
America
I
60.
think it's 46 in
Yeah,
Canada.
I think the problem is we get Canadian and American
Maybe.
statistics mixed up
Right.
all the
But
time.
still, that's a large percentage of the market to be your
It's
target
really-
market
that-
and still be called the niche.
So then you don't have a niche. I think to have a niche, you will have
But then we have a
consultants.
perceived
Everybody thinks we
niche.
do.
We have a perceived niche.
That's true. That's true. I mean, I would say comparatively speaking, it would be a niche
Are you going to join our podcast, Drew?
because because not that many
Fix my hair.
Yeah, right.
not that many folks in our profession would have the courage to narrow down in any way.
Yeah.
So just having one layer of narrowing, like we're just doing consultants, solo consultants, that may give someone the perception of that. But if you deal with some of the higher end folks, the ones that would pay double, triple what your average pays, the ones that fit into a specific section like health IT or health or pharmaceutical IT or something like that. Like if you were to cross one large growing industry and one what they call the horizontal, right? Because the vertical would be or the vertical would be in this case IT, or the horizontal, or it could be medicine or pharma, and the horizontal could be how they do the work. So if you
How they do what?
how they do the work,
Yeah.
So you can deal with consultants
Well-
that go on site and do consulting on site, consultants that travel, consultants that charge as a percentage of their wealth creation, consultants that So if you find one more layer to niche, and then I think that might be easier to then build FAQs and decision trees. Because again, what you want is less variability. You want the questions they ask to look just like a previous question. That way you can, through whatever, artificial intelligence or through your database, you can try to point them to something that already sounds like that. But the challenge is when they ask questions that are brand new, or we haven't answered them, or to answer them to that particular person, we would have to use different terminology.
Yeah.
To be honest, after 30 years, I think we've almost answered.
I think we've answered every question, and the more you answer questions, the more you realize you have to generalize the answer.
Right.
Well, but like I said, is that my problem is, and maybe you're better at this, is getting people to actually read the answers that are already available.
Yeah. It's hard to read something and actually do something about it. That's not that easy.
Like, and people love your content, but there's no way there's very few people who probably listen to every one of your videos.
Are you talking about new customers, or are you talking about existing
People
ones?
generally.
Generally.
Yeah,
They're lazy.
And even like
people in general will have short attention span,
Yeah.
but your clients can be trained.
Yes, they can be.
They can be. You can say
Yeah.
the way our interaction will work will be this way. You will
Yeah.
ask me a question, and if it's already on my database, I will answer you back with a link to the database.
And I think we've got the
Right.
best process in the business because we're one of the few ISO registered accounting firms. I think we're really better than most because we got our processes and our systems down and organized, and an outside auditor comes in and makes sure it's really happening. I think that's a big part of business.
And let me ask, from a marketing standpoint, how many of the customers are saying, "Oh, you're an ISO certified. That must be valuable," or because exactly. So that must be it plays a lot to the ego, I believe, but it might not play too much to the market unless somehow you figure out how to expose part of that process, make it transparent, right? To say, this is what's unique about our business. Our process is, let's call it trademark. I don't know what the right word is.
I think it's the results of that process. We don't get along across to the clients very well. We don't get it across.
I also think that, to be honest, where I see the value, he thinks it's a selling pitch to clients that were ISO 9000. I don't think they care or even know what it is.
I think it's a selling pitch that they don't even realize it's a selling pitch because you've got it documented and you've got constant and never-ending improvement, and that's the best kind of systems.
Where I see the value of that is if and when we want to sell to
Yes,
a
exactly.
party,
Yeah.
or if and when we want to take this from me providing content for free to the accounting community to me providing training courses or processes or systems that could be
I think
marketed.
franchising or licensing the system, it's really I think the only reason to document the process at that level is so you can replicate it to
I would
person
love to
outside
help
the circle.
a lot of companies get ISO registered. That's what I'd like to do.
Right.
I think that's the answer for them.
I want to have a lot of CPA for IT franchises around the world. That's what I want to have.
You know, I unfortunately, I agree with you of the value of it.
I think it's
I'm an industrial engineer, frustrated industrial engineer inside because I'm a big fan.
Frustrated marketer.
Right.
I'm a frustrated doctor. I want to help people.
Exactly. I've always liked. That's why I'm fascinated with manufacturing. I like. That's my target market is manufacturers. I like manufacturers because I just love to see the gears turn. And I love to see things turn into something else. And manufacturers is kind of the epitome of a process. So I agree with you. The problem is that if it's not marketable, then if it's not marketable in a sense that you can monetize it or you can turn it into better clients, bigger clients, the passion towards it might become diminished over time, right? So you're passionate about ISO. Andrew is probably has he's passionate because he's getting the spit right from your passion. But then the next person that comes along may not even care at all.
What was that expression? I'm getting the spit.
Right, the spit from the speech. Right, he's talking about it, and
absorbing a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. But you might not be as excited about it because maybe you don't see it turn into something, or if you were to go back in time, take it away, maybe Andrew feels that if you were an ISO 9000, your firm wouldn't be that much different.
Yeah. I don't think if we weren't ISO 9000, it wouldn't stop us from creating processes. It wouldn't stop us from constantly and never-ending improvement.
Right.
There's something about having an external auditor forces you to do a certain amount of things that I think are good for your business.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, they hold you
It's
accountable.
like an outside
Well-
auditor for auditing accounting numbers.
Right.
And this is, and also when my dad first did it, I thought it was really smart at the time because he was looking to step back from his practice and let it self-manage in ways. Before I was really you did it before I was actively involved. Like I was doing the computer side. Of
What's the
business.
year we did that?
It's got to be in around 1999. It was in around the time we were doing the software, right?
It's about 20 years ago.
Yeah, but at the time he wanted to step back from the practice and let it run, and what that meant is he had some accountability and some reporting back up to him to make sure that people were doing the work, getting the job done, making sure the processes were being followed. And I think that that's where it comes in handy. If you want to step back and not be involved and not want to manage to make sure people are doing
or you want
what-
to scale the business.
or you want to scale the business, for sure. And like Hector said, is if you want to have franchisees and you want to scale the business, it becomes a necessity to have those processes
I
in the
believe
system.
that.
But I think we're set up for far more scale than we could hit on our own.
Yeah.